Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And we thought going into Week 7, we'd start with the rematch of the Super Bowl, but with some of the huge moves that have happened, yesterday with the Jets and the Bills, we got to start there. And we're going to start with the Jets, and they've made headlines again. Yesterday, they traded for Davante Adams. They sent over a third-round pick to the Raiders. It could wind up being a second-round pick if Adams is named a first or second-team All-Pro, or if the Jets make the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. So Davante Adams has been traded to the Jets. This is, it does strengthen their team. I'll give them that. It strengthens their team. I mean, he has a great rapport with Aaron Rodgers. It obviously will make them better. But the big question is are the Jets a Super Bowl contender with this move? And I'm going to say absolutely not. I've looked at this Jets team through 6 weeks. They are definitely, even though they'll have Davante Adams, they are definitely not a Super Bowl contender with this move. There's no way they're a Super Bowl contender because let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers, he's not the player he once was. He's still decent, but he's not the player he once was. Seeing that 2 of the last 3 times he's had the ball in his hands and he's throwing a pick at the end of the game. Their run defense is not good either. Their offensive line is shaky. And outside of Monday night, they've had an issue running the football. I know it was better on Monday night with Todd Dowling, but they had an issue running the football. So I'm going to say absolutely not. This team is definitely not a Super Bowl contender, even though they went out and got Davante Adams, traded for Davante Adams.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I know the AFC is not as maybe difficult as we thought going into the season, but I still don't see this Jets team being able to be a Super Bowl contender. They're already now 2 back of Buffalo. You lost the opportunity there to beat them at home too. So that means you're gonna have to go on the road probably. You're gonna have to probably, you're gonna be a wild card team. You're gonna have to go on the road pretty much the entire playoff. So I don't know if that team's gonna be able to do it. And yeah, this offensive line, great. You added Adams, but it doesn't help out. Your offensive line didn't get better because of this. And Rodgers already gets rid of the football pretty quickly as it is. So yeah, you mentioned too, the run defense is not great still either. So yeah, this Jet team is definitely not there yet. And yeah, Aaron Rodgers just isn't the same. And they're still very undisciplined. They had 11 penalties the other night. So that's still something that could bite them too in the playoffs.
The discipline. I think the piece that we didn't get to is the coaching aspect of it. They have an interim head coach. How could you be a Super Bowl contender with an interim head coach? Now, I thought Robert Saleh was the worst coach in the league going into the season, and they should have fired him last year. But Trev Albrick is not going to make things better. An interim head coach is not going to make things better. So they're pretty much they did go out and trade for Adams, but they're a talented team, but they have an interim head coach. So no, there's no way this team is a Super Bowl contender. Now, our next question, you could argue, are they a playoff team? Can they sneak into the playoffs with Davante Adams? And I'm still going to say no. I think this winds up being a 9-win team. They pretty much have to go to make the playoffs. Say 10-7 makes the playoffs. They pretty much have to go in their I think they got 11 games left. They got to go 8-3 the rest of the way. I can't see a team with an interim head coach going 8-3. I can't see that happening. I'm going to say no. I think they get to 9 wins because of how talented because of the talent on this team with Rodgers. I know he's still decent, even though he's not the same quarterback he was. Davante Adams is still really good. You still have Sauce Gardner on this team. You still got Quentin Williams. So the talent on this team, I still think they could be a playoff team. But no, I still think they could maybe compete, be in it for that last spot and have a winning record. But no, I don't think they make the playoffs. Even with this trade, I don't think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I know their schedule coming up looks pretty easy on paper, but this is a team that did lose at home to Denver. So can you really count them to get big wins against Miami or even Indy here? They'll probably beat the Patriots. They might beat Arizona, but yeah, like this is maybe a 9-win team. Maybe they could sneak in there, but again, the Chargers are pretty well coached. You bet the Steelers are going to be hanging around. Denver's look better. Like you would think the Cincinnati starts to play better with their schedule. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but yeah, like I get it with the schedule, but it's a team that lost the Broncos at home. So can I trust them to beat some of the lower teams? I don't know. So yeah, I think this is a team that probably finished 8-9, 9-8. It's not gonna be enough to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, if you look at the schedule, yeah, Pittsburgh is we'll get to that game, but it is winnable. New England's winnable, but Houston, that's going to be a tough one. Arizona, that's 50-50. Indy, they should win. Seattle, I think now they should beat Seattle. Miami, Jacksonville, they should win. The Rams, I think they should win. Buffalo's going to be tough, and Miami's going to be tough. I think it's going to come down to the end. I just don't think they're going to do it. I just can't see it. I can't see it with this coaching staff. This coaching staff is garbage. This coaching staff is. I know Dowling did a better job calling plays on Monday night, but the coaching staff is garbage. And another aspect is the special teams. The special teams has been terrible. Zerline's not had a good year. He missed a game-winning field goal against the Broncos, and then he missed 2 field goals. He missed 2 field goals on Monday night against the Bills.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah, it just the kicking game's hasn't been there either this year. So yeah, there's been too many kind of mistakes. Yeah, I thought Dowling did a better job. Like they actually used emotion, which Hackett never really did at all. So it did seem a little bit better there on Monday night. But yeah, it's just still a team that just too many kind of mental mistakes on their part. And with Rodgers' age, can they get it going with the running game, that off the line? I just think there's still too many question marks for him. And yeah, I think that's why they'll probably be not going to the playoffs yet again. Which again, with Adams too, it really feels like they're going all in, but I think it's a little bit too late for that right now.
Yeah, they're definitely going all in. All in. But yeah, I think it's I mean, I know they only gave up a 3rd-round pick, but yeah, but they're desperate. This organization's desperate to do something. So they're making moves like firing that. I know. Listen, I wanted the head coach fired after last year, but firing a head coach after 5 games, going out and now trading for Davante Adams. They're desperate, but I just think there's a lot of desperate moves, and it's a team that I feel like. It's just I feel like it's not going to work out. I mean, it might work out, for them to have a winning record or maybe sneak into the playoffs, but it's not going to work out for them in terms of competing for a Super Bowl.
No, it's not. And we see Hector's comment here, which looking at how the AFC is playing, the Jets could be one of those wildcard teams, and like I don't know if I trust this team. I don't know, like, what Jet team am I going to get? They don't get to play the Patriots 17 times a year.
Exactly.
So yeah. So that's the thing. Yeah, their schedule looks easy on paper, but can they take care of business against the lesser competition? Again, going back to the Bronco game, that's a game you should have won, and you couldn't at home. So, so they're not there totally yet. So I could possibly see it, but yeah, I see the team destined to win 8-9 games. I don't know if that's gonna be enough.
Yeah, and Hector says, besides Buffalo, Baltimore, Houston, and Kansas City, who's the next best team in the AFC? That's a great question there. That's a great question. Who is the next best team? Because we look through the AFC North. Who is that? Who is that team? Can you really say Cincinnati? They haven't with Zach Taylor. I mean, they could have very easily lost to the Giants on Sunday night. They're all Joe Burrow. If the Giants don't miss field goals and turn the ball over, they could easily lost that game. Pittsburgh, are you really going to put Pittsburgh there with Justin Fields? Or they don't even know who their starting quarterback is. I know they're 4-2. They don't even know who their starting quarterback is. Then you go to the AFC South. I mean, who really outside of Houston? Who are you going to put there? Nobody. Then you move on to the AFC West. The Chargers. Maybe you might say the Chargers, but honestly, yeah. I don't think the Chargers have issues at receiver. They're not good at receiver. So if they get behind in games, I know they have Justin Herbert, but they're in big trouble. Now, I do think the Chargers are going to get one of those wild card spots. I do think the Steelers are going to get one of those spots. And the last one, that's why Hector's got a good point here, because we got 4 of the teams in the AFC that are going to make the playoffs. Obviously, we got the Bills, we got the Ravens, we got the Texans, we got the Chiefs. But it's really filling out those other 2 spots. For me right now, I would probably say the Steelers. I'd say the Steelers. I'd say the Chargers, and I'm going to go with the Bengals just because of the quarterback they have. So that's why I say the Jets are out. But Hector's got a good point. There is a good chance the Jets make it. I just think with this coaching staff, they don't.
Yeah, I think with the coach staff, I'm with you. Yeah, because Pittsburgh Chargers should get those spots, and that last one's kind of up in the air. Like I know Denver's 3-3, but like their offense is still isn't great. Their defense is phenomenal. You can't really. I know Tua's supposed to come back next week, but like that Miami offense hasn't been the same. Even when Tua's in there, like that offense just it hasn't.
I do think if Tua comes back, though, they could be, because I think they could beat the Jets twice with Tua.
Yeah.
I think that team could beat the Jets twice because they'll have the coaching advantage and arguably the quarterback advantage. And they owned them last year. Let's not forget they beat them by 3 scores twice last year.
Yeah, they did. So the Dolphins did play well against them last year. You can't trust the Raiders right now, and yeah, like it would probably beat Cincinnati right now because it'd be probably Cincinnati. The Jets. I don't trust the Colts. Like if Anthony Richardson comes back, like he'll make the wild plays, but he makes too many mistakes. So like I don't even trust the Colts, and I don't trust that defense. So yeah, that 7th spot I think is really wide open, but I don't know if the Jets will be able to take advantage of it. And as you said, yeah, because of the coaching staff.
Coaching, and let's be honest, the quarterback hasn't played. He's definitely not the 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers. He's not. I mean, 2 times. 3 times he's had the ball in his hands and they failed to score. And yeah, you could blame the Denver game on the kicker. They scored 9 points. All 3 of those games, Aaron Rodgers had definitely contributed to in their 3-game losing streak. All 3, he contributed to those losses.
Yeah, they did. And that Brown game, they had 1st and goal. I think at the 1-yard line, they didn't score. Like I think they got a holding call, and then, that's inexcusable. So yeah, the discipline, the coaching staff. Rodgers 41. Again, I thought they found something in week 3 against the Patriots. Because Rodgers looked really good. He was moving well, but yeah, he's been hit way too much, I think. And there's been a couple times a little bit slower to get up. But yeah, he's 40 years old. Like it's gonna happen if he gets hit, a lot like he has the last few weeks. So yeah, I think this Jet team, it's right there for the taking. I'm with you. I don't totally trust this team to take advantage of it.
I don't either. So we'll move on to their game this week against the Steelers. And I think it's a close competitive game, but I think it's going to come down to the team that runs the football better. I think the Steelers, I don't care who plays quarterback for the Steelers, if it's Justin Fields or Russell Wilson. I think the Steelers are going to run the football better. The coaching for the Steelers versus the coaching for the Jets is superior. The Steelers have a major advantage. They have a major coaching advantage in this game. And I think it's what's going to happen last time. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to turn the ball over at a critical time. And that's why I'm going Steelers here. I'm going Steelers 20-17. But, Justin, can the Jets win in Davante Adams' debut with them?
No, I get the Steelers as well here, 16-13. I think it's a pretty low-scoring game. I do think the Steelers are going to run the football well enough in this one. And, yeah, whoever plays quarterback, I think, takes care of the ball well enough in this one. And I think T.J. Watt's going to get after Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to hit him a couple times. I think it could be, tough for, if I know Rodgers gets out the ball quickly, but I think he could have a really rough time in this one. Against Watt, because I think they're really going to struggle to block him. So I think the Jets' offense is struggling. Pittsburgh kind of does enough like they do. They just win another ugly football game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Steelers win another ugly game against a poorly coached New York Jets team. Now, a couple hours after the Jets traded for Davante Adams, the Bills made a move and they traded for Amari Cooper. And they got it. And this is kind of a bargain because they only got a third. They got a 3rd round pick too from the Browns. And there's no chance. I don't think this is even going to become a 2nd round pick for the Browns. So the Browns are just tearing this team apart right now. But for the Bills, let's be honest. This trade, and I'm not going to be wrong about this. This trade will be more impactful than the Davante Adams trade for the Jets. The Bills trade. This is going to have more impact. Cooper on the Bills will have more impact than Adams on the Jets, because the big reason why is if you look at the Bills, they've not had a receiver go for over 100 yards in a game this season. The most receiving yards a guy has had for the Bills in this year has been Shakir, and that's 72 receiving yards. So the Bills have not had a receiver go for over 100 yards this season. They lost Stephon Diggs. This is pretty much them replacing Stephon Diggs here, going out and getting Amari Cooper. I really like Amari Cooper. This is a great fit for Amari Cooper with a quarterback that is one of the top quarterbacks in football and a coach who you can criticize him, but he's miles ahead of what the Jets have as their head coach. So yeah, so I really like this trade for the Bills. And the big question is are they a Super Bowl contender now? Are they there with the Texans? Are they there with the Ravens? Are they there with the Chiefs as the top teams in the AFC? And I think this move definitely puts them in that spot. I think this move definitely puts the Bills in that spot. I think they're definitely a Super Bowl contender. I even said just because of Josh Allen, they were even without a big time receiver because of how good Josh Allen is. But in those two losses to the Texans and the Ravens, two Super Bowl contenders, he did throw for over 200 yards. Now you're 100% sure that this team is a Super Bowl contender with them going out and trading for Amari Cooper.
I agree with you. I think this is a really nice pickup for Buffalo. I think Joe Brady too, as an OC, is gonna scheme up something too for Cooper. Because again, we kind of ruled that Deshaun Watson, cannot play anymore, and he's only been averaging like less than 50 yards a game so far this year. So I think this is a really nice pickup for him. They definitely need another wide receiver. Kind of adding Josh Allen, for Josh Allen and in AFC, it's kind of, we just mentioned, like, it's really wide open right now. And because, like, even I know Casey's undefeated, but it's not like they've played great so far. They're probably going to get better, but like it really feels like it's wide open this year for the Bills, and they do have a chance. And, so yeah, for Buffalo, good they're making this move. And yeah, I agree with you too that this is going to be more impactful than Devontae Adams as well.
Love this trade for the Bills. I really do. I mean, it's going to be fun in the AFC because you got four teams that are, and Hector said it, four teams that are clearly better than everybody else in the conference. And they all play in different divisions. With the Ravens in the north, the Chiefs in the west, the Bills in the east, and now you got and then you got the Texans in the south. So great trade for the Bills. And we'll quickly run through their game this week. They got the Titans this week. I think they win it. They win it by a couple scores. I think Tennessee's defense is okay, so maybe they stay in the game, but Josh Allen will be too much for them. And Will Levis is the worst starting quarterback in football. He has a bad turnover every single game at the most critical spot. So I'm going Bills here. I'm going Bills 27-13. And Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, I got Bills here as well, 23-10. Yeah, Will Levis probably gonna make a mistake or two in this one, and yeah, Josh Allen's gonna make enough plays, and yeah, I could see the Titans defense keeping them in this game early. But I think kind of Buffalo pulls away in the second half there, and should cruise to a victory here on Sunday.
We finally get to the rematch of the Super Bowl, and that is between the Chiefs and the Niners on Sunday. Big game between the two teams. I think like it always is with these two teams. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be competitive between these two teams. I think it's going to be close and competitive. I think it's going to come. I think it's going to come down to the end. But I think the difference in this game is going to be. I think that Mahomes, just like it usually is in these big games between the Chiefs and Niners, Mahomes will make less mistakes than the quarterback for the Niners. I do think Mahomes has a pretty good game. He always plays well against the Niners. I think he has a pretty good game. He throws a couple touchdowns. I do think Purdy has a good game too. I think both teams will kind of struggle to run the football. I think obviously with CMC out for the I'm pretty sure he's still out.
I assume he's still out.
He's still out. I think it'll be Jordan Mason as the running back. And the thing is, Jordan Mason has not done a bad job at all. The problem though is if the Niners get a lead, they've had trouble putting games away with their defense and their running game. So I think it's going to be close. It's going to be competitive. I think Mahomes plays well. I think Purdy plays well. I think it either comes down to this: the Niners ahead, just like there was in the Super Bowl, and Mahomes having the ball late in the game and them scoring a touchdown, or Purdy having the ball late and that Chiefs defense making a big stop. And that Chiefs defense has played really, really well this season. They're definitely a big reason why this team is undefeated. You could argue it might be a bigger reason than even their offense. Why they're undefeated. This Chiefs defense has played really, really well this year. I think it's close and competitive. It comes down to the end, but it's Chiefs Niners. It's Mahomes against the Niners. I always got to take Mahomes against the Niners. I got the Chiefs here 24-20 over the Niners. But Justin, can the Niners get revenge on what the Chiefs did to them last season?
Anyway, the Niners just won same score 24-20.
Ooh.
I think the Niners, I know they played Thursday night, but with Shannon's offense, they can usually run the ball kind of with anybody in that backfield. I think, they might struggle in this one against the Chiefs defense that's played really, really well. But I think for the Niners, kind of the revenge angle here too, kind of winning this one. And, one of these close games too, the Chiefs do have to lose one of these close games. Like, they haven't played great. I think Purdy can move the ball through the air as long as they could stay away from the turnovers. I know the Niners defense hasn't been great this year. But I do think, they play a little bit better in this one, and I do think Purdy makes enough plays. And I do think the Niners get this one here at home.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close, competitive game. And yeah, I mean, but here's my issue with the Niners this year. They just haven't been able to win close games. They haven't been able to win close games, and they've lost close games against good teams, against bad teams like the Rams and the Cardinals. You look at all their wins. Dominant win over the Jets. Dominant win over the Patriots. It was close against Seattle, but they were able to pull away late against Seattle. But the close games, they haven't been able to do it. Lost a 6-point game in Minnesota. They lost on a game-winning field goal to the Rams, and they lost at the end to the Cardinals. So if it's close at the end, and you look at the Chiefs, they've been able to win the close games this year. Able to win a close game against the Ravens on opening night. Win a close game against the Bengals. They won a close game against they won a close game against the Falcons. Won a close game against the Chargers. So they've been able to win the close game. The Chiefs have been able to do it. The Niners haven't. So if I think this game is close at the end, I got to go with the Chiefs here. I think the Niners, if they're going to win this game, they got to get off to a really fast start and have the Chiefs come back, because if this is close in the last 3 minutes of the game, I definitely think the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, I could totally probably, because I think it's now Shanahan's blown 18 as a head coach of the Niners. I think it's like 18 double digit leads he's blown.
Wow.
It's something, yeah. So it's been something. They haven't been able to, he hasn't been able to figure it out. But I think this is one of the weeks where the Niners, where Shanahan hopefully stays more aggressive, continues to try to put the foot on the gas here, and and I think too for the Niners too, they've already turned the ball over like 8 times this year. I know it was a little bit, because they had 3 a couple weeks ago, I believe, in that loss to Arizona. The Chiefs have won a lot of close games, and I think when Mahomes is trailed by like 10 points or more in a game, I think he's undefeated.
That's crazy.
It is. So, but I just think there's, everybody kind of talking, the Niners can never beat the Chiefs, and all that from the last couple of years or in the Super Bowl. And I just think for the Niners at home, this really means something to them. And I really think that they want to go out, kind of try to prove it, that they can go out there and go beat Kansas City. And I do think you get a really good effort from Brock Purdy, and he plays well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Purdy and the Niners there. But before we move on to the next game, because these two teams played in the Super Bowl, the question I have is seeing these teams through the first 5-6 weeks of the season, which one of these teams has a better chance to return to the Super Bowl? And I think it's a pretty easy question. I know the Niners. There's a point for that. You can make a point. You can make a case for the Niners because they're still really talented, and they've been there 2 of the last 5 years. But I think it's a pretty easy one. I'm going Chiefs, just because the Chiefs, they've been to the Super Bowl 4 of the last 5 years. They're coming off a Super Bowl win, and it's a lot easier getting back to the Super Bowl after you win it than after you lose it. Only one team in the last 30 years has gotten to the Super Bowl after they lost the Super Bowl, and that was the 2018 Patriots, who beat the Rams at the Super Bowl. So I think that's definitely the Chiefs, because I trust the quarterback more. I trust the coach more. And it's just so hard to get back to the Super Bowl after you lose it. It's just brutal. So I'm definitely going to say the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have a better chance to get back to the Super Bowl than the Niners.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think so too. With the Niners this year, it just kind of feels like something's off there. There's been a lot of injuries. And yeah, with the Chiefs, like the only guy that's been able to take down Mahomes in the playoffs is Burrow. And right now the Bengals may have dug themselves too deep in a hole to get into the playoffs. So, and I know there's some good teams over in the AFC, but none of them have really proved it yet in the postseason. So, and again, how many teams go in Arrowhead in the month of January? Because they're already up. They're up a game right now, but more than likely they could have home field advantage yet again in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs are set up to get back there yet again this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs are definitely right now. The Chiefs are my favorite to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. So we will move on to an NFC East matchup. We got Saquon Barkley making his return to MetLife Stadium for the Giants for the Eagles as they take on the Giants. And I think this is going to be a close, competitive game. But the one thing is, I really, really like the way the Giants defense played last week. I really do. And I think they're going to continue with this week. The Eagles, because there's a really good chance Jordan Mailata is not going to play on the offensive line. I think the Giants are going to get pressure on Jalen Hurts. I think they're going to sack him. I think the biggest thing they're going to do is they're going to contain Saquon Barkley. They're going to contain Barkley. They're going to get pressure on Hurts. I think they're going to force Hurts to turn the ball over once or twice. And I do think on offense they'll be able to run the ball. I think this week they're going to focus on running the football with Tyron Tracy. There's a chance to get Devin Singletary back. There's a chance to get Malik Neighbors back in this game. Now, The Andrew Thomas loss is going to be big. So this is why it's so crucial for the Giants, not only in this game, but in games moving forward, to jump out to get a lead on teams. Because if they don't, if they get down, 10 points in the fourth quarter, it's going to be very, very hard for them to make a comeback because of the loss of Andrew Thomas. Looks like he's going to be out for the year. So it's going to be very hard for them to come back being down by multiple scores in the second half. So, but in this game, I do think they get a lead early. I do think they jump on the Eagles early. The Eagles have gotten off to slow starts. That's mainly because of their head coach. And we'll get to him. He's a total clown after what happened last week. But yeah, I think the Giants get off to an early start. I do think the Eagles end up outplaying them in this game, but I think the Eagles do something stupid. They'll either have a turnover in Giants territory, a bad play on special teams like last week, or a horrendous coaching decision by Nick Sirianni. That's why I think it's close. It's competitive, but I like the way the Giants defense played last week. I think they continue it. I think the Giants win a close one here. I got the Giants 23-19 over the Eagles. But Justin, can Saquon Barkley carry the Eagles to a win against his former team?
I think the Eagles do get out of this MetLife 20-16 with a win. Thing with the Giants, I know the Eagles defense, has not played great, and their offense right now is kind of a mess. But the Giants have only scored one touchdown in 3 games at home. Like, if this game was in Philly, I'd probably be more,
I don't know. The Giants don't play well in Philly. Yeah. The Giants have played the Eagles better at MetLife than they have in Philly. But I know the Giants have been terrible at MetLife Stadium this season.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of a little – and there's going to be a good Eagles crowd there. There's always is. So, so I do think the Eagles do enough here at home. And, yeah, and you mentioned the slow start. So, they're the only team in the NFL that has not scored a point yet in the first quarter this year, which is astonishing. But, yeah, that kind of goes down on the head coach and OC. And I do think Barkley makes enough plays. And I know Hurts has not played well, and the Eagles are 4-10 the last 14 games. But it's a Giant team that they've had success with over there. So, I feel like they're confident against this team. And, I know the Giants defense played really well, but their offense didn't do a ton against a bad Bengals defense last week. So, so that's the thing. I know you kind of got the running game a little bit going with Tracy, and Daniel Jones ran the ball pretty well, but I'm going to go with the Eagles here in a close one.
Yeah, I can see it. This is a huge game for this regime, though. It's a huge game for this regime, for this Daboll Shane regime, because Shane said it in the offseason. You're paying Daniel $40 million, not to hand the ball to a $12 million back. If they get blown out here, they are going to get destroyed, especially Joe Shane. He's going to get destroyed in the media, because a big reason why they wanted to move on from Saquon was because they needed to improve the roster. They needed to improve the offensive line, needed to improve the defensive line. Defensive line definitely improved with the addition of Burns. And the offensive, and both lines have been improved. Now, the offensive line is definitely going to get worse without Andrew Thomas. But say Saquon has a big game on the ground, the Giants can't run the ball, because their run game has been inconsistent. It's been inconsistent. They've ran it well in certain spots. They ran it well against Washington. They ran it well against Seattle, but against Vikings, it wasn't good. They overcame not being able to run the ball that well against Cleveland, and they didn't run the ball well at all against the Bengals either. The Bengals, and some bad run defense they haven't been able to run the ball against. So say Saquon has a big day, and the Giants have trouble running the football, Joe Shane is going to get destroyed after the game, especially for the comment he made in Hard Knocks about, paying the quarterback $40 million not to hand the ball off to a $12 million back.
Yeah, and he will rightfully so get criticized if Barkley goes off in this one, and they do continue to struggle to run the football. And because they're paying Daniel Jones a lot of money, and we've talked about it. But yeah, like it's been a big year for him. He goes to a division rival too, and if he kind of comes back home and has a huge day and is the reason why he loses a football game, yeah, he's going to take a lot of heat on Monday morning, and it's not going to be a great look, because of how Hard Knocks did not help the image of that front office at all. Like it did not, with some of the with how much they wanted how much it seems like they wanted Daniel Jones out. They wanted to find any way out of Daniel Jones that they could, and the way they handled the Barkley situation, like it just didn't look great for him. And if he goes in there, Barkley, and just runs all over the field against the Giants, yeah, it's going to be a horrible look. And yeah, Shane's going to have to be answering a lot of questions, because I get it, you want to pay running back $12 million, but he'd been your best offensive weapon for the last handful of years.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday. Big, huge game for this regime, and a huge game for Sirianni too. Huge game for Sirianni, because if he loses this, seeing what happened last week, the Philly media is going to be all over him after a win. When he was talking to the, he was talking to the fans after the game. He was going back and forth with the fans. If he loses this week, the Philly media is going to be all over him too. So a lot of pressure on, I think, Joe Shane and Nick Sirianni, two people under the most pressure on Sunday in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're like, Sirianni has a bad look. You only beat a bad Browns team by 4 points at home. And again, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago after the Falcon game when he was acting like a little child when they got that 4th and 1 stop. Like the greatest coaches, Saban, Bell, like you never saw them get emotions like he had in that moment. Like he acts like a kid, and then and then the press conference he brings his kid up there, so can't really criticize him. And he only asks his fan like it's not a good look. So he acts like a little child out there, and it's again, and he's not calling offense or defense. He's a CEO, and his thing is managing timeouts, and he's horrible at doing that too. So the only way you win back Philly fans is win a Super Bowl, and this team ain't right the way they're playing. That's not happening.
Yeah, they got to be better. Now they got the talent to do it. But they got to be playing better. The Eagles got to be playing better if they are going to contend for a Super Bowl. But we will move on to a game, I think, of two Super Bowl contenders in both conferences. You got the Texans and the Packers going at Lambeau Field. And I think this should be a really good game between these two teams. I think that C.J. Stroud's going to play well. I think Jordan Love's going to play really well. But I think the difference in this game is going to be, I think that the Packers will run the football better with Josh Jacobs. And I think the Green Bay's pass rush is going to get pressure on C.J. Stroud and force a mistake or two because of the loss of Laramie Tunsil. He got hurt against you guys. Laramie Tunsil got hurt against you guys. Now they were able to get that drive to put the game away against you guys. But I think the Packers defense is better than you guys. Packers are clearly a much better team than the Patriots. So I think it comes down to the end. But I'm going to go with Green Bay here. I got the Packers here. I got the Packers 28-24 over the Texans. But Justin, can C.J. Stroud lead the Texans to a big road win and get them to 6-1?
I got the Packers here as well in this one, 27-21. I think Collins is a huge loss. He was leading the league in receiving when he went down. And, they put up 41 points against a Patriot team that's getting worse by the week defensively. And I just think Jordan Love, the way he's been playing, I think they're going to be able to run the football. He's been, again, they don't have that true number one, but he's been able to spread it out. And a lot of guys been kind of stepping up for him. So I really like the way this Packer team's playing defensively and offensively. And I think Jordan Love has another big game, at home. I think they should take care of business. The way they're playing and trying to keep up in that NFC North, which could have all 4 teams in the playoffs. The way things are looking right now.
Yeah, it's amazing how well the NFC North is. I mean, you got the Vikings who've been playing great with Sam Darnold, the Lions who, if they had Agent Hutchinson, I clearly have them as the best team in the NFC. I still think they are just because of how great. That's the best offensive. I think it's the best offensive football the Lions have. I think the Lions have the best offensive football. The way they destroyed the Cowboys on Jerry Jones' birthday, and then Jerry Jones now wants to fire radio hosts because they're criticizing. It's a mess. It's a mess down in Dallas. But yeah, I mean, Detroit absolutely destroyed the Cowboys. Destroyed Dallas on Sunday, and then you look at the Packers. Jordan Love was great last week against the Cardinals, and then even the Bears. Caleb Williams starting to figure it out now. So great division. NFC North, clearly the best division in football. And speaking of the NFC North, we got a huge matchup in the NFC North as the Lions travel to Minnesota to face the Vikings, and I think this is going to be a really good game, close and competitive. I think Jared Goff's going to play well. I do think the Vikings defense forced a turnover against them, and I do think Sam Darnold will play well. But here's the difference. I think Sam Darnold has played really, really well this season. But if you notice, in every game, he throws that Sam Darnold interception. That interception he always throw back with the Jets or back with the Panthers. The Giant game had happened in the second half. The Niner game had happened. The Green Bay game had happened. They all happened in the second half. The Green Bay game had happened. Then the Jet game had happened. I think that bad pick Sam Darnold throws in this game or that bad turnover is going to cost him here. And there's a chance Aaron Jones might not play. So he might turn the ball over a couple times. I think one of them is going to be bad. I think one of them is going to be costly. That's why I'm going to go with the team with the better quarterback and the roster that's a little bit better, even though they don't have. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's out, and their pass rush will be a little weak. But I think that the Lions win this one close. I'm going Lions here. I'm going Lions 27-23. I think they're the best team in the North. I don't see them being 2 games behind the Vikings. I get the Lions here 27-23. But Justin, can Sam Darnold lead the Vikings to a 6-0 start?
Yeah, I got the Vikings here 23-20. I think coming off the bye, and this Vikings team's gone off to such a fast start this year. They lead the league in points in the first quarter, and again, I think that sets them up well because if they can get a lead against Detroit, where they're going to get after Jared Goff, and you see that there's times you can kind of get after Jared Goff, will make that mistake or two. And the Vikings have been so good at stopping the run that I do think this is a game where they do have to rely on Jared Goff maybe to throw the ball 40 times, and they're not able to get that running game established as much as they want to in this one. And I do think Minnesota's defense makes a play or two in this one, and I do think Minnesota gets a win here 23-20 and it stays undefeated.
Yeah, it should be a really good game between those two teams on Sunday. But we'll move on to the game in London with your Patriots taking on the Jaguars. Now, even though the Patriots are a terrible football team, you got arguably the best player on that team played on Sunday, and that's Drake May, who I thought had a pretty good game. I know he turned the ball over a couple times, but for his first start, had a pretty good game. I thought he played pretty well on Sunday. The unfortunate part is the team has, as you said it, the defense is getting worse and worse and worse every week. And I know Jacksonville isn't good either. Jacksonville's been playing terribly as well. But I just think their offense is a little bit more talented than the Patriots. And I do think their offense is going to move the ball. I do think Drake May will have a good game this week. But I do think the Jaguars forced that turnover. And Doug Peterson is coaching for. I mean, we'll say this. We'll ask this question. But there's a good chance the Jags need to win this game, or major changes are going to be made. So I think it's close and competitive, but I'm going to go with the more experienced quarter. He doesn't play that well at all. I'll go with the more experienced quarterback and a more talented team to win this game. I'm going to go with Jacksonville 27-21, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots win it. But Justin, is Drake May going to get his first NFL win on Sunday?
I guess it's possible if Jacksonville quits, which, we'll get to that in a second. I got the Jags here as well, 27-23. Drake, again, I didn't think he would be able to provide the spark. I didn't think they'd score for 20 points a game this year. And hey, he's the first quarterback since 2017 for the Patriots to throw 2 touchdown passes of 35 yards or longer in a game, which is insane.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's so bad. That's been almost 7 years. So that's wild. So again, they were able to open the offense. Offensive line didn't play great, but he was able to get away for a couple of Houston defenders. Now, where this week is, Cole Strange might come back, and he might play center, which I don't think he's ever done. So how does that go?
Yeah,
because Drake May has not taken a snap under center pretty much since like high school. He did not at college.
Yeah,
he did a little bit last week, but that's my worry with that offensive line. Now we get Cole Strange has been a bust. Now you're putting him at center. They've had 5 left tackles started this year. Like, it's been a rotation, and I think he could put up some points against Jacksonville defense. That's been awful, but this defense, again, it's getting worse. I know they're down 4 of their top 5 guys that they would have, after they traded, Judon, Barmore's hurt, Gonzalez probably had his worst game last week, but I'm going with the Jags here, 27-23. I wouldn't be shocked if the Pats win because Jacksonville quits, but them being over there for 2 weeks too probably helps them in, adjusting and all that. And I think the Patriots are leaving tomorrow, Friday, so just don't think they have enough in this one.
And you made a good point. Yeah, they've been there. They've been there for 2 weeks. You're used to it. That's why I think they get off. I think here's what happens. I think they get off to the fast start. The Patriots try to come back, but the comeback falls short. I think that's what happens. I think the comeback falls short. But again, if you're a Patriot fan, you got to be impressed. I think you got to be impressed with Drake May. I think you got to be impressed with him. Now, I mean, I don't think this team's going to finish 1-16. I think it'll be a 3-4 win team, and then you build around them. You build around them. So the biggest question of this season for the Patriots is Drake May their guy going forward? I think Sunday answered that he belongs. He showed on Sunday he definitely belongs.
Yeah, he did, and he only had 100 yards and a half. He got, it felt like the second half kind of gave him those yards, and we're kind of like, all right, let's just get out of here. We're going to be able to score. So I kind of want to see now there's more film on him. I'm glad he kind of made a mistake or two, so he kind of learns from it. But he showed some promise. We'll see. I don't know. You heard Belichick. I think he was on McAfee. Was like, they're talking about Drake May, and he's like, the coaching might hold them back. So he took a shot there.
Wow.
And then Mayo took a shot too of the roster coming in, this year. Didn't name Belichick, but implied that it was his fault why the roster was so bad. So they've been taking shots at each other this week. But look, I was excited to see, again, like the throw down the booty. Like, we haven't seen that since Brady was here. Like, it's been a while since our offense really opened up. So it was nice to see. But now, let's hopefully he gets better and hopefully his defense can improve. But he showed promise, which is encouraging because it hasn't. And I like the way he approached it to the post game. Like, Mac was always a powder, and I don't think that does not seem like May's mentality. Like I do think May kind of is not going to let it bother him, like I think Mac did. So, which I think he's going to be able to handle it better than Mac Jones is, which is a good sign here. So, yeah, I'm encouraged, and now hopefully, I am kind of still rooting for the number one pick, and hopefully we can get a King's ransom for it and start to build with some talent because they need it.
Yeah, they definitely got to build around Drake May. Before we get to the next game, we got to answer this question: is Doug Peterson coaching for his job on Sunday? And I think he is. He is. If they lose Sunday, I don't think he's fired. He gets fired. You saw the comments from Andrew Sisko about the team quitting. I think if they lose Sunday, he's gone. He's gone. He's fired. And it fell apart very quickly for Doug Peterson, but I think he's coaching for his job on Sunday. They lose, he's done.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening because I don't know if you heard Peterson's comment on Sunday. He's like, we got to change the culture. It's like, Doug, you've been here for 3 years. What have you been doing then?
I know.
Yeah, like that's not. It's that wasn't good look. And the owner said on before the game was he gave the vote of confidence to the coach and GM too, which is never a great sign. So yeah, if this team quits on Sunday, the Patriots put up some monster numbers. Yeah, I'd expect Doug Peterson probably will be out of a job.
Yeah, I agree there. Now, getting to the game tomorrow night between the Broncos and the Saints, it is Sean Payton's return to the Superdome as he is the now as he's Broncos head coach. He's returned to the Superdome. Former Saints coach, won a Super Bowl in 2009. I think this game. I think Denver's going to win with their run game and their defense. They're going to be able to run the ball in the Saints defense. Saints defense is getting old. You get some of the better players, Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu. It's getting old. The Saints defense is getting old. I think Denver has success running the ball. And I think Spencer Rattler, they put up 27 points, but a lot of those were on short fields. A lot of those were on Tampa Bay turnovers in the second quarter. So I think that Spencer Rattler throws a pick or two in this game. I think that the Denver wins it with their run game and defense. And I think Sean Payton does win his return to the Superdome. I got the Broncos here 20-13 over the Saints. But Justin, can the Saints with Alvin Kamara, can Alvin Kamara carry them in Sean Payton's return back to the Super Bowl? Does Sean Payton lose his return back to the Superdome?
He's going to have to, but I got the Broncos here as well. Again, this one 2016 because, Rashid, it sounds like he's going to be out. Chris Olave is probably going to be out too. So your two best weapons are going to be out offensively, which is going to, not going to help Spencer Rattler making his second career start against a really good Denver defense here. That's going to get after him against an offensive line that's not great either. And they haven't been able to run the ball the last couple of weeks. So I think Kamara's probably going to have a tough day on the ground. I bet they'll probably try to get a lot of short passes to him, see if he can do something open field. But I just think Denver's defense would be too much in this one. And I do have Sean Payton getting a win against the guy that took his job in Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen. Yeah, Dennis Allen. I thought Doug Peterson is probably next to be fired. After that, it's Dennis Allen. I think it's going to be Dennis Allen. I think that team is going to be cleaning house at the end of the season. They'll probably win, 5-6 games and probably clean house at the end of the year. We got an NFC matchup in Atlanta between the Seahawks and the Falcons. I think this game is a fun game early on. I think both teams will score points, but the problem is I don't think the Seahawks defense stops Bijan Robinson. I think Kirk Cousins has another big day, and I think Geno turns the ball over once or twice. And I got the Falcons here. I got the Falcons winning 31-20. But, Justin, can Geno have a big day and help the Seahawks snap their 3-game losing streak?
No, I'm with you here with the Falcons. I got them 31-24. I think Kirk Cousins put up monster numbers in this one. And yeah, Seattle just has not been able to stop the run of late. And I think Robinson and Tyler Algier just should be able to carry them on the ground. And I do think Geno will put up points against this Falcons defense. They'll be able to spread it out and they'll put up some points, but I just don't think they'll be able to keep up against, they're not going to be able to keep up with Atlanta's offense and how bad the Seahawks defense is. Falcons should win this one.
And we were talking about the wild card teams in the AFC earlier in the show, and these are two potential wild card teams that are playing in Indianapolis on Sunday. You got the 2-3 Dolphins against the 3-3 Colts, and I think this is a close competitive game. Let's be honest about the Colts. I think Joe Flacco right now is actually better than Anthony Richardson, but the problem is they took Richardson with the number 3 overall pick 2 years ago, so they have to play Anthony Richardson. So I think this is again a close competitive game. But I'm going to go with the quarterback that plays a little bit better and the quarterback makes less mistakes. I think that quarterback's going to be Anthony Richardson. I think this Colts defense is going to force Tyler Huntley to turn the ball over. The Dolphins won their game before the bye. We all know who they played, the Patriots. That game was so ugly. That game was really ugly, though. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring, close game. But I'm going with the Colts here. I got the Colts 23-17. But, Justin, can Tyler Huntley lead the Dolphins to a win after their bye?
No, I'm with you with the Colts 21-16. Yeah. Hundley should be able to have some yards, but this Colts defense hasn't been able to stop the run. And the Dolphins couldn't run the ball up in Seattle. Like they had first and goal at the 7, they couldn't punch it in. Like again, 2 weeks. I'm kind of out on Mike McDaniel. I think he's overrated. Their running game just hasn't gotten it going yet this year, and it possibly could be against a bad Colts team. But I do think Anthony Richards plays well enough, and I don't think the Dolphins score enough in this one. And I do think the Colts defense does enough in this one to help them get the win.
We got an AFC North matchup against with the Bengals and the Browns. And the Browns look like after their Amari Cooper trade, it looks like they're starting to tear things down. I mean, I'd be shocked if they trade Myles Garrett, but the Browns, they're just an absolute disaster. They're still not benching Deshaun Watson, which is ridiculous. Kevin Stefanski wants to bench him. Ownership's not allowing it because of how much money they're paying him. Stefanski wants to bench him, but they take on the Bengals. And the Bengals, I know the weird thing about the Bengals is, Joe Burrow was playing well for 5 weeks, but they were losing. And last week, Joe Burrow probably outside of the Patriot game, his worst game of the year. And I know he had that big 48-yard touchdown run, but he probably played his worst game of the year, but they still won because of how pathetic the Giants offense was. But in this game, the Bengals are playing another pathetic offense. And I think they'll bounce back. Joe Burrow have a bounce back game here. I think he plays well too. I got the Bengals. I know it's a division game. I got the Bengals by 3 scores. The Browns are an absolute mess. The Browns are a disaster. I mean, the offensive line, I got a little bit better with Jack Conlon, but the offensive line is bad. I know Chubb's returning, but now who does Watson have to throw to? And the thing is Watson doesn't throw the ball close to his receivers anyways, because he is, outside of Will Levis, I think he's the second worst quarterback in football. So I get the Bengals winning this one 27-10 over the Browns. And Justin, I assume you got the same here. Bengals by a couple scores.
Yeah, I got Bengals 24-13. Yeah, I know the Bengals are soft and you could probably try to run the football against them. So maybe you can have some yardage, but I think you would just stack the box and say, all right, Deshaun, beat us through the air. And I don't think that's going to happen. The Browns are 19% on third down, and they had an 0-for-25 streak of not converting on third down. It's insane.
That's awful.
John Fant, the 2 years where they went 1-31 combined, he said those offenses were funner than this offense to watch. So it's bad. I know they still got Cleveland, the Guardians for a couple more games probably there, but yeah, it's ugly. And I'm with you. I think it's time to go with Deshaun Watson. But yeah, with all that money they're giving them, it's tough. You're gonna have to bite the bullet. I think it's just a matter of when. He's just throwing the towel with them. It's not gonna get any better.
No, it definitely isn't. Got a matchup of 2 West Coast teams in LA as the Raiders take on the Rams. And I know there'll probably be a lot of Raider fans at the game, but I don't think they're going to like what they see, because I even though the Rams defense hasn't played well, the Raiders offense is terrible. The Raiders offense is really bad. I think it's going to struggle. I think they're going to turn the ball over a couple times. I think Sean McVay is going to be able to run the football with Kyron Williams. I think Stafford will just manage the game here. And I got the Rams here. I know they're 1-4, but the Raiders are just, you can see it's another organization that's in a major rebuild. The funny thing is they're lucky to be 2-4. They should probably be 1-5. So I got the Raiders. I got the Rams here 23-10 over the Raiders. But Justin, is there any way that Antonio Pierce, who could potentially be losing this locker room because of his business decisions comments, is there any way Antonio Pierce could lead this Raiders team to an upset over the Rams?
I don't think so this week. I got the Rams as well, 21-17. It sounds like the Rams are getting a little bit healthier too. Maybe Cooper Kupp's back this week. That's going to help out. They're coming off a bye. And yeah, the Raiders right now, they started O'Connell. I would think you have to go back to Minshew because O'Connell's worse than Gardner Minshew. And yeah, now without Adams, I don't think Jacoby Myers is going to play. So who can you really throw the football to right now? So I got the Rams here as well. They should be able to take care of this off a bye, and they do get this one. Maybe Max Robinson makes a play or two, but I think the Rams get this victory.
We'll move on to Jaden Daniels and the Commanders taking on the Carolina Panthers. And I think Jaden Daniels, he's been playing great, and he continues to play great. It's obvious. I know Malik Neighbors has played well, but it's obvious he's the offensive rookie of the year. I mean, he's just been outstanding for this Commanders team. I think it's another huge game. I think the Commanders are able to run the football against the Panthers. I think Jaden Daniels throws a couple touchdown passes. Now, I think the Panthers put up some points because Jonathan Allen's going to be a big loss. That's going to be a loss for this Commanders team, losing Jonathan Allen, one of their better players on defense. So I do think Miles Sanders will have a good game on the ground, and Dalton will move the ball. But I think Commanders win this. They win it by 2 scores. Commanders got a really good chance to win this NFC. You would have thought the Commanders could win this NFC East, but with the way Dallas is playing, the way Philly's playing, the way the Giants are playing, who would have thought the Commanders would have a good chance to win the NFC East this year? And I think they do. I got the Commanders here. I got the Commanders 34-20 over the Panthers. But Justin, can Andy Dalton lead the Panthers to a big upset win?
I think they'll put up some points. I do agree with you there, but I got Washington this one 30-20. I just don't think their defense is going to make enough stops for them. Their defense right now, a lot of guys are banged up, and they're really struggling. And Washington really has to take care of business in this one because they do really want to kind of finally turn that corner. This is a team you got to beat, and because it feels like maybe the old Commanders team, like they'd somehow find a way to lose this game. But with Jaden Daniels and the way this team's rolling right now, they should be able to beat the Panthers by 2 scores. The way he's playing, I think Dalton will put up yards, but just not enough to be able to keep up with Washington's potent offense right now.
No, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, the old Commander team could lose a game like this. I just think they're too good right now at the quarterback position to lose to the worst team in football and not put up points against one of the worst defenses in football. So, yeah, I'm going Commanders here. I'm definitely going Commanders here, 34-20 over the Panthers. So we got an interesting matchup on Monday Night Football. Probably definitely one of the better games this week. Is we got the Ravens traveling down to Tampa to face the Bucs. We got Derrick Henry, who's been great so far, been great the last 4 games for the Ravens. I think it continues to be that way. He runs the football really, really well in this game. I think he has a big game on the ground. I think Lamar Jackson continues to keep his MVP case up with Josh Allen, him and Josh Allen right now neck and neck in that MVP race. So I think he plays really well. I do think Baker Mayfield plays well, but Baker Mayfield. It's a kind of similar, a better version of Sam Darnold, but a little bit like Sam Darnold, though. Plays well, but he has some of those bad turnovers. And I think that's what's going to happen in this game. I think it's kind of the same thing happens to Sam Darnold this week, happens to Baker Mayfield. Both teams playing Super Bowl contenders, and I think both teams make that big mistake in that game that hurts their team. So I think it's close, it's competitive. I like the Bucs. I do think the Bucs are a really, really good team this year because of the way they can run the football now. I think the Bucs are a really good team. I just think the Ravens are a little bit better, and that's why I'm going to go Ravens here. I'm going to go Ravens 31-24 over the Bucs. But Justin, can Baker Mayfield continue to stay hot and get the Bucs to 5-2?
I don't think he'll be able to keep up with Lamar in this offense. They have the Ravens as well, 30-24. I think he's going to be able to throw. Lamar's going to be able to throw the football over the secondary for Tampa Bay, and I do think the same thing for Baker Mayfield. Because the Ravens have not been able to slow down any passing attack this year, and for the most part, and yeah, they've been running the ball a lot better. Bucky Irving's been like a really nice pickup in the draft for him. So, but yeah, but Baltimore's been really good at stopping the run. So I do think the Bucs are probably going to be a little bit more one-dimensional in this game, and I think Lamar is able to take care of business. I think they get out front, they're able to kind of contain the football and run, and Derrick Henry's going to have a huge game on the ground, and that'll be the difference.
I think obviously I think it'll be the difference. I think the Bucs will have trouble stopping the run, and the Ravens will be able to contain the Bucs run game, and I think that's going to force Baker to make a mistake or two in the game. Even though I like the Bucs, and if you look at the Bucs schedule going forward, this is a tough stretch for them because they got Atlanta at home, and that rematch of that Thursday night game. They got San Francisco on the schedule too. Yeah, and Kansas City, and KC and San Fran. So this is a crucial stretch for the Bucs. If they can go in this stretch, they can somehow go 2-2 in this stretch. I think there's a good chance. You look at the back end of that schedule. I think there's a very, very good chance they win this division again. This was the 4th year in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Because after that bye, it's the Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, Saints. So yeah, there's not a lot of really like great teams. Like, this is the kind of the part in the schedule here. I completely agree with you. They can go 2-2 and get out of here, going there. And that Falcon game coming up next week could really much determine that division. Because even the Falcons coming up soon too, their schedule starts to really lighten up as well. So yeah, it's a important couple of weeks here for Tampa Bay and the way they're playing, especially offensively. If they could somehow get 2 wins here, they'd be in great shape going into the bye.
They definitely would. They definitely would. So we will move on to. We'll wrap up talking about the other Monday night game. That's between the Chargers and the Cardinals. I think this is a close game, but I think the Chargers run the ball well. I think they run the ball well against this Cardinals defense. I think Herbert throws a couple touchdowns. I do think Murray throws some touchdowns, but I think the Chargers will be the team that runs the football better. The Chargers are the better coach team, and I got the Chargers going to 4-2, Cardinals going to 2-5. I got the Chargers winning this. I got the Chargers winning this 27-20. But Justin, can Kyler Murray bounce back this week and get the Cardinals to 3-4?
No, I think Chargers get off to a fast start like they did last week, and Arizona last week was very disciplined with 13 penalties, and I'm with you. I just think the Chargers just run the football on this one, keep away from Kyler Murray, and I think the Arizona plays from behind yet again. They might, they could, and the Chargers secondary has played pretty well this year, so I do think offensively they could have a bit of a struggle trying to get things going, and I do think Chargers yet again this week get another victory on the road.
I've been saying it all year. I think the Chargers are a playoff team. And because of the way they run the football and the coaching that they have with Jim Harbaugh, changing the culture there, and they got a top 10 quarterback in Justin Herbert. Now, I don't know how far they go this season, but I do think I've been saying it in the preseason. I think the Chargers are a playoff team, and I think right now they got a very, very good chance to get a wild card with the way they're playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Harbaugh and changing that culture, and you see what happens when you hire a really good head coach, and they can flip the culture pretty quickly. And there's definitely other teams around the league last year that definitely wanted Harbaugh and, should have been more an effort to try to get him go to their program. Cause he's been unbelievable changing that culture, and it, but in the development, they get some wide receivers. The Chargers team, the future is bright. I know they've been good over the years, but obviously coaching has been like the one thing that's held them back for so many years. And I don't think that's going to be the case anymore.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. So that's going to wrap it up on this episode of Sports Talk with R&J. But we will be back in about 10 minutes talking about the Yankees' quick start in the ALCS and the humongous game between Texas and Georgia on Saturday. So make sure you tune in for that.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.